Suppose if you have some fear, it would be fear of water, it would be fear of some exams, it would be sitting in dark place, going out late night, going alone, staying alone, right? That all would be your psychological barriers. It would be you have stage fear, right? So it understanding that person for that particular reason becomes very difficult. People do not accept their faults or limitation. This leads to many problems. Suppose if you are not comfortable in going in crowd and speaking to different people, that also would lead to problem. If you are not able to do your own work, that also would be a problem. But it would be a psychological problem. Only thing, since you would feel that you are not able to do that, you are not doing it. But if you feel, if you can even do it more accurately than somebody else could do for you. Okay. Many times the sender and the receiver are not in proper frame of mind. So this creates problem in communication. Now what happens? Suppose the person to who is talking to is very angry. At the same time, the listener, that is you, who are very happy. So your mood and his mood is totally different. So even if he sees you laughing, that he will get still more angry, right? So this would lead to problem. He may shout at you, he may ask you to leave the class, he would spoil your mood. Because of you, that your mood would get spoiled. So that leads to communication problem, especially psychological problem, because he was not happy, he is shouting on you. Because he is disturbed, he is shouting on you, is basically wrong, right? Misunderstanding, lack of interest, mental and physical disturbance can cause problems because of that. Now, misunderstanding is what I said is different, but what you understood is still different, right? So because of language barriers, because of understanding, it lead to misunderstanding, and that is where the problem is. Lack of interest. Now, suppose if I'm teaching you financial account, your cost account, financial management sums. But if I'm teaching you on the basis of assumption that this is what you should know, right? But what happens, that will not give you the required link of interest. Why? Because you thought you will learn it into higher classes, but higher classes, if it is taught on the basis of assumption, it would disturb. Once and your link has been disturbed, you will hang out somewhere and you will not listen to the speaker properly. So that would lead to lack of interest. Mental and physical disturbance means what? You are very disturbed, you didn't had sleep late night, you got up early than the regular time what you get up, you are under pressure because fourth lecture, suppose if you have your test, your attention is diverted to that. If you are supposed to go out somewhere, you need to reach somewhere on time, that is also creating tension. So that mental pressure also will not help you to focus properly, right? Physical disturbance means what? Suppose we are online taking lectures and there's some technical issues, so that also would create problem, right? So effort should be taken by superiors and all reporting people to overcome problems. Now what happens here, it is not only the sender or the receiver has to cooperate, at times and every time both have to say to it, they need to cooperate. Why? Because if communication stop, it leads to problems. So in order to avoid the problems, misunderstanding and other related problems to it, most important is we need to speak barrier free. Next come social cultural barriers. These barriers can be overcome by proper study of other culture. Now, as I told you in the earlier slides, that culture is what color clothes you wear. Suppose you wearing black color clothes, right? It is a party where all enjoy wearing black color, all like that. But every time wearing that would not be good. Some places, some culture will not accept it, right? For example, your office culture would be, you would be supposed to wear formals from Monday to Friday. Saturday you can have things of your choice. But that doesn't mean that you will come in shorts and t-shirts. Whatever suits to your post, whatever suits to your position, that should be worn. Otherwise, it will be something wrong. It is very much essential to learn new cultural values and observing people and accepting their culture. Now, whatever would be good in your culture will not be actually accepted in my culture. But at times, if your way of explaining, your way of talking to others should be very calm. You should know that it is a part of his culture and he is wearing it. So you should not laugh at anyone. We have to develop open mindedness in this regard. We have to understand the mannerism of other people, right? If people are happy wearing colorful dresses, right, mismatching their wear, so it is either because of they like it or either because of their culture. But one should not laugh at it. We should have open mind for everything and accept the things and avoid the barriers. Now comes the most important part, that is listening. Right now, listening comes with different types, different way. Right now, what is listening? Basically, it is an ability. Right, ability of listening means what? You can view a picture throughout for 3 hours. You can view the TV throughout the time till you have the capacity to watch. But when you are listening to lecture, what happens? This is sometime very different. You're listening it for the first time. You're listening it because you are compulsory made to sit and listen. You're listening to it because you like a person. You're listening because he is the one who is going to give importance. He is the one who is giving marks for attendance. So your purpose of listening is different. Or just listening for the sake of listening so that he should not, shout at you or should not create problems, right? So there are listening and listening skills, right? Just a minute. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret message in the communication process. Now, listening is what? Listening is the ability in sense what? You should have that much courage to sit and listen, right? At time you should have also courage to stand and speak, and this is possible only when you are listening. So listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret the message in the communication process. Suppose if you are listening to the message half, it will definitely not help you to take any decision. Listening is key to all effective communication. Means what? When you are listening to a particular person, you can answer to him properly. Suppose you are viewing the picture properly without disturbance, you are listening all dialogues, you understand that movie. When you are listening to the speaker, you understand what he actually meant by what he said. Without the ability to listen effectively, the message is easily misunderstood. Means what? If you are not listening properly, your answers would be misunderstood. Means what? Oh, come on, he started his daily job. He started shouting, so we listen, say yes, yes, yes. And what happens? At times, suppose even if he is telling something good, but since we don't like that listening, it is sometimes misunderstood. Next comes the types of listenings. Now, type of listening, as I told you, there are different types of listening. Some people listen only for the sake of listening. Some people listen very actively. Some people will, now suppose your kids tomorrow when they speak to you, right? You will listen very nicely, even if they are talking something rubbish, but then too you will listen. Why? Because your kid is talking something to you. First comes is appreciative listening. When you listen for appreciation, you're listening for enjoyment, right? Now, what is that? When you're being appreciated by somebody, right? That you, oh wow, you're so studious students, all students attend the lectures daily. You are giving the feedback daily. right? You are the only class. So what happens, this all words definitely appreciate us. We are still motivated to do the same thing in a better manner. So we listen that because that is giving us some joy. Think about the music you listen to. For example, you like a particular song, you repeatedly play that song and listen to it. You also sing along with it, right? Because you like that particular song. So that is appreciative listening. You would be liking the tune of it, you would be liking the words of it, you would be liking the meaning of it, whatever would be. You are appreciating it. You usually listen to music because you enjoy it. The same can be said for appreciative listening when someone is speaking. Now, what happens when you are appreciated? You enjoy listening, but at the same time, when somebody is speaking and you start leaving the lecture, what happens? The person, the sender or the speaker feels bad, because either he is speaking something which is not understood, or the way he is speaking is very bore, or he is not been understood properly, or the different messages that one receiver sends to the sender by his behavior, right? Some common type of appreciative listening can be found in serums, from place of worship, from motivational speech by people who respect or hold in high regards, or even from stand-up comedy who makes you laugh. Now, what happens here is, you serums are different places. Right now, when you go to temple, you have different environment, the attitude, the positivity is still different. When you go to hill station, the atmosphere is still different. When you listen to some speech, right, when you listen to a song, when you listen to a poem, when you listen to some motivational speech, your way of thinking is still different, right? So it is always advised that you please respect to the speaker, right, and be an appreciative listener. Clap when it is something to be appreciated, smile when it is to be reacted in that way, right? So at times laughing also, as they have explained you, stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is something, you on the spot crack some jokes, right? For time, or on time cracking some joke, having presence of mind, is the one who can do such tasks. Empathetic listening. Now, empathetic listening, what is empathy? You understand someone's feeling, right? Suppose you are a student and you understand what is your behavior, right? For example, a student a student will understand how he behaves. A teacher will understand how the student behave in different situations. Suppose the teacher calls your parent, your behavior in front of parent and teacher would be different. During your exams, it would be different. So the teacher should understand that particular student and should have empathetic listening. Means what? You understand someone's view, that in if I would have been in his place, how would I have reacted? That is your empathetic listening. When you listen empathetically, you are doing so to show mutual concern. During this type of listening, you are trying to identify with the speaker by understanding the situation in which she is discussing. Right now, for example, Ratan Tata, Birla, right, your Reliance companies, right? That Dhirubhai, they are discussing their success story. So what happens? You understand that it is not overnight success that gave them name and fame. They had to go n number of problems, n number of hurdles, and thereafter they have achieved such great success. So you're listening to them, right? You understanding them. That is your empathy. You are stepping into others' shoes to get a better understanding of what it is he she talking about. Usually During this type of listening, you want to be fully present in the moment or mindfully listening to what the speaker is saying. Means what? You should not miss out any words. Even if you are listening with closed eyes, you are attentive listening, right? So what happens if you are doing some other work, someone is sitting in front of you and you talking to 10 other people, and yeah, say, and you again this talking to somebody people, and there's a person sitting to in front of you, you are insulting that person, right? So please make sure when there's somebody sitting in front of you, either tell him that you please sit for 5 minutes, give me 5 minutes time, I need to complete this work urgently, right? And you attend that person actively. So that is basically your empathetic listening. Your goal during this time is to focus on the speaker, not on yourself. You are trying to understand from the speaker's perspective. Means what? When you are listening to the speaker, you are listening to him as a person. You are understanding his pains. You are understanding his wants, what he wants to say. So all that should be listened properly. So that is basically your empathetic listening. Is this much clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Comprehensive listening, right? If you are watching the news, listening to a lecture, or getting direction from someone, you are listening to understand or listening to comprehend the message that is sent to you. Means what? For example, I'm telling you on through news that college would probably start. Means what? It is a news that we need to be prepared for college lectures which would start. If news are telling that from 7th of October the temples would reopen, right? But it will be opening with all proper rules and regulations. Means what? It is an guidance given to me that I can go to temple, but I have to follow all the rules and regulations. If you are listening to lecture, what is important that whatever is been taught is understood, right? Or if I'm asking some address to somebody, he is telling you take left, take following left and go straight or something like that. You should understand that he is telling you only the directions and you have to move accordingly. So this type of listening is basically comprehend. Means what? You need to understand the message and act or behave accordingly or take your decisions accordingly. This process is active. In class, you should be focused, possibly taking notes of the speaker main ideas. Now, suppose you are sitting and attending a webinar, right? The person is telling you about your job responsibility, telling you about your pay package, you have to take it down. He will be telling you some targets, he will be giving you some phone numbers, whatever main ideas he focus on. And if you're taking down the main points, right, this is something comprehensive listening. Identifying the structure of the speech and evaluating the support he she offers as evidence. Means what? Now, suppose if I'm giving you an example, right? That example is not for the sake for giving example, but is for clearing that particular concept. So even if you understand only example, that is meaningless. You should understand why the example is given. This is one of the more difficult type of listening because it requires you to not only concentrate but to actively participate in the process. Now, as I told you, if you're asking address to somebody and if he's standing on that one particular place, is showing you the direction, you should understand that I have walked till here, now I'm supposed to take two left. So this is understanding and behaving accordingly. The more you participate listening, the more you practice practice listening to comprehend the listener, the stronger listener can become, right? So this is something what is expected. Critical listening. You have ever had to buy an expensive item such as new appliances, a car, a cell phone, or an iPad. You probably did some research beforehand and listened closely to salesperson when you went to comprehend or compare brands, right? Now, what happens? Critical listening means what? You will do the analysis. If I'm so happy with your teaching, I will take it as it is. But the thing what you taught in college is different. What you taught in classes is different. Why so? So I was attentive at both the places. My question is why there's a difference between your teaching. When you teach in class, it is different. When you teach in classes, it is different, right? It should not happen because that difference is being observed, and that difference of delivering the speech is your critical listening. For example, you want to purchase a car, a cell phone, a house, or whatever. You are doing some research beforehand, and then with knowledge you are going to shop, you're asking people questions. If he's selling the product with some discounts offer and all, you have knowledge, so you're asking questions to him and demand an answer for that. Or perhaps your best friend is telling you about some medical test she recently had done. You listen closely so you can help your friends understand his result and possible ramifications of the findings. Ramifications is what you can tell him the purpose of test and the output of the test so that you can analyze it properly. Both of these scenarios are examples of critical listening. A critical listener, you are listening to all parts of the message, analyzing it and evaluating what you heard. When analyzing it, critical listening, you are also critically thinking. You are making mental judgment based on what you see, hear, and read. Means what? As I told you, you did some research, you were well prepared, and thereafter you entered the shop. So shopkeeper started his selling. You were analyzing. Yes, he's saying what he is saying correct. What he is saying is correct. But this is where I have doubt. So you can raise your doubt only when you have some basic knowledge of that particular product. Your goals as a critical listener is to evaluate the message that is been sent and decide for yourself if the information is valid. Now, as I told you, go prepared anyway. For example, if you're going for exam and if you're not prepared, the paper output would be known to you, right? That is, it will not be successful. But if you're half prepared, then too you know what you knowledge you have. But if you're prepared thoroughly, if you are having complete knowledge of the concept, at least you can have surety that you will pass, right? So comprehensive listening, critical listening, right? Thereafter empathetic listening, appreciative listening are different types of listenings, right? Please read this and tell me if you have any problems. Take few minutes and